Hey there, friends. This is Joy with Joy of the World here to take an intuitive peek into the energies going on around you, around me, around us all. Now, why am I here? I was tuning into San. If you haven't checked her out, it's San Tarot, S-A-N. And she put a message out that someone needs what I have. Talking about the mysteries and the languages and launching us beyond where we've been. Shuffling around my tea leaves and different things before I got this started, they were talking about people who've been stuck in a trap of grief or in these cycles or in karma or wondering why we are here. You know, it's like, what is this all about? I don't want to be here anymore. How do I get out of this? How do I move on? Surely there's something greater, something better. And it's funny that the channel's called Joy to the World, because in my mind, I was kind of picturing the globe for years. But more than that, truly, I was listening with my heart. And our world is much bigger than this planet that we are on. That's why at this channel, we talk about us being the whole zodiac. We are the whole picture. You are not an arm, a leg. You're not a birth date. You're not a birthplace. You are the whole big picture. So that's why we bring in these collective messages. And all of them we could say are timeless, but really they are eternal. Whichever one draws you in is the one that's speaking to that part of yourself, that ingredient of who you are. So feel free and trust yourself to move on through. You'll know if it's resonating and speaking to you, because I'm not here to tell your future, to sit here and make decisions for you. I'm here to just simply confirm and affirm things that you've been walking through and that are going on around you. And you'll have the sensation inside of you of it being spoken directly into your heart. So with that being said, welcome. If you're new, feel free to go back into that log of those eternal reads that we're talking about. But for today, this is a today read, so I can talk about plants and things like that, and that can be relevant, but also it is relevant through all time. So with that, where we're stepping in, we have a couple of, we could say affirmation or directional cards going on here. The first one is, I feel privileged to live in my body. So that's kind of where we're coming from. Some of us feeling like we've been cursed or afflicted. And that's because you've been stuck in this huge trap of karma. And karma, they can say is good or bad or whatever, but it's like being stuck in a skip in the record. So irregardless, that's annoying, and that's not what you're here for. We're here to enjoy our lives. We're here to thrive and to flourish. That's what this channel is about, is bringing forward your big, bold, bright, beautiful self. So let's step in and see what card we get going along with that and where this is sort of going to go. Yep, those are all blanks. So it's a blank slate. These are apparently the ones I'm working on. So anyways, what we do have in the center, laugh with me, is being blocked to our own victory. Blocked to our own victory. Heading the wrong direction. Not knowing which way to go because we didn't know it seems to be the other way. What is that? Changing the way we are thinking. We can think the way is like this, obtuse, vague, blob-like energy, but really it is like the needle on the compass. It is that way. Which way do we go? That is the way of thinking that we're talking about here. And so it's talking about being afraid to have left the nest because you don't want to leave all these goodies and treasures behind, all the things that are precious to you inside your own self and inside your own heart. But instead of going out into this world where you see the death monster lurking in the lurmkin, we're going into the nest, into you, and that is where the divinity is. It's inside of yourself, because inside the palm of your hand is that nest, and it is this nest egg that you have been storing up for some time. So we're going to dive down into the treasure. I love how they pull little jokes on me sometimes like that. That is so funny, because all these other decks have been pre-shuffled. That is the only one I have not touched yet. So we're going to do that by taking a look over here at, it is my birthright to thrive, shine, and succeed. You see that? You've got to root down to rise up. And then we'll be stepping into talking more about the 4 directions, maybe not in this reading, but as we go forward. And so let's get an oracle card on this. New deck. Ooh, at the bottom, Starry Night, acceptance. Accepting the unknown. Going into the unknown. It's only unknown because we haven't explored it. Do you know that? It's not scary. The dark is not scary. When my sons were little, we used to read a book called Switch on the Night. And I think that's what we're doing here. Excuse me while I take that deep dive. You've got a lot to say, and we're going to get the gist of it. Standing stones, passage, leadership, and retreat. Okay. Guardian of Winter, Stag Spirit, and Standing Stones. I don't like these. We're going to put them on back. I want a bit more cohesion because we have a lot to say here, and we're not going to do it by being wordy. All right, so we're going to get direct. Let's give some clarity to our viewers here, to our friends here at Joy of the World, about what we are bringing in this rooting down to rise up, the shining and succeeding. Where is there a block, which would be an opportunity? Because if you're someone who likes astrology and you think about the squares and you hear the woo, beware, baby, when a door is closed, God will throw open a window. Who is God? You. So look through that window. Let the light in. There we go. I see you. Pine Spirit, purification. Look at that. There's more of the light in the hands. So we are entering in. We are entering in. See the hand here? See the promise ring? Look. See the hands all over. So the power is in you. You need to know that first. You have the authority and the power. Excuse me as I keep spinning around. This is not my planned setup, but I'm still working on setting up my office. So this is where we are for now. It's bringing in that message of hope, that hope is eternal. Hope has not died. Hope is within you. You have bones in you. That is where hope lives. See the evergreen bough in her hand? Okay. So let's get a nice True Heart Tarot. I love these guys. Princess of Swords at the bottom. See again the hand and the message hovering and waiting. But there's nothing to fear. There's nothing to fear. This is you that we are traveling within. There's nothing scary, deep, dark, or hidden. I see you making your way out. Thank you. Okay. So we're dealing with the issue of self-sabotage. And now this one comes in. See the two little foxes up here? There's this old saying that says little foxes spoil the vine. It's that blocking your victory. It's maybe not handling things with the care or the with the proper attitude, or those are all the wrong words. With the proper knowledge. Remember those cards coming out first about that knowledge. And you can't know what you know until you know it. So beginning to go gently into the night with yourself, going into that space of maybe asking questions instead of making demands. You have no need to parent yourself, okay, to abuse yourself, to punish yourself, to do any of those sort of things. Be your own best friend. Speak to yourself. You know, seek your own guidance, ask yourself, and don't sit there rubbing your fingers, waiting, or you'll set yourself ablaze and on fire. You can just set forth the question, kind of like sending an email, and then you get a reply, and it'll show up, and it'll show up in a way that you can receive it, in a message, in a form that is true to who you are. I love that there. But so that's the little foxes spoiling the vine, is not knowing to handle yourself with care, not knowing how that speaking to yourself as your own best friend. Think about it. We often treat our friends better than most people that we know, better than our family, better than our lover, better than ourselves. You know, give yourself that grace to be able to learn and to grow and to be able to adjust and adapt as you go along here. Okay, so I'm going to get a color card on these foxes and see the bottom. Overcome your challenges. But maybe they were only challenging because you didn't know that it was the manner in which it was being dealt with. Like if you go into a china shop and you've got a big bag on your shoulder, maybe a backpack, and you're just moving all around all hurdy-gurdy, you might knock some things over and that'll cost you a pretty penny. But if you realize, okay, I need to be prepared and move forward with care in regards to the environment that you're in, and this environment is you. I love it. Put the needle on the record when the drum beat goes like this. Let love in. Where? Through these two lips. Talking about the way you speak to yourself. Also, I'm hearing the way you speak of yourself. How do you tell others about you? Do you know who you are? Do you know what you really desire? Do you feel secret shame or reluctance to share, like either that someone's going to beat it down or it's going to be taken from you, or that when you do things will not work out? Maybe it's not the particular people, but it's that greater God sense going on. And maybe you're even a little timid to open up and speak about it because you're not totally sure if that's for you. Okay? So I want to get a little bit more on that. I want to get a little bit more. Tell us a little bit more about this letting love in. I see that there's order. There's 4 going on there. That's Metatron. Metatron has to do a lot with like Akashic records and and being divine and being human, heaven on earth. So how do we do this heaven on earth? We're curious. We want to learn. So instead of being foxy and thinking we have to outwit anything, we have to do anything to earn it, it's just the exploring of ourselves. Help us know, pardon me, another deep dive. Princess of Wands and the Six of Swords. The Six of Swords is interesting because normally it's moving forward in a boat across to another land. To me, you might not have ever heard of it, but it's called a sideways promotion. It's when you take one job that you're efficient, proficient, and very good at, and they move you into another job that somebody else didn't want. And the pay raise and the benefits do not change. Yet you have to start and adapt and learn and evolve again. So it's like kind of having to always clean up messes. That's kind of that karma thing. Remember the no change, the no change, the no change. Well, I can tell you change is on the way. That's what they were talking about, is overcoming this grief, being grief stricken, feeling ashamed that things haven't gotten better. They haven't progressed. They haven't improved. Maybe the rewards aren't here. So you're feeling dry, sucked dry like a camel in the desert, falling down on your knees. But this is, help is on the way to come exalt you and lift you up into another place. But you see, all this darkness, that is you. It's unknown, but it is knowable. Why? Through your imagination. Through your imagination. I see, okay, Pine Spirit, purifying your imagination, the pineal gland in the middle of your mind. Okay, that's a place where Neptune could have played some tricks, Cancerian type energies. Now remember, we're the whole zodiac. Okay, if you notice, crabs are always suspicious. There's always that air of not knowing, of being unsure. We're here to dust and sweep that away, and we're sweeping it away with this Princess of Wands. The inner light, the inner candle, the candle of truth. That flame inside of you, is this burning an eternal flame? Yes, it is that eternal flame, that there's light within and there is light outside of you as well. Okay, that is the integrity that they're talking about. So let's look at this Pine Spirit, the purification. How do we clear out our pineal gland? How do we ditch the suspicion? How do we get rid of the unsurety? I can say when you know, you will go, for one, and when in doubt, leave it out. But also to put away the fighting. Surprise! Okay. Treasure Island. It's with you wherever you go. Look at that bounty and that beauty and that bliss. Look at all that love and magic traveling around with you. Now, I'll tell you, it will move swiftly. It's simply, they're saying more about it is just entering into the land, because when a turtle enters into the water, a sea turtle, okay, because that's what we have here in the image. Sea turtles on the land are very awkward and they could fall into a death trap. But in the water, in the waters of the imagination, they move swiftly and quickly. It's a great place for you to explore. So maybe that's what's been going on here that they're hinting at, is we've been dealing with ourselves in the earthwise manner. Like when we have an issue with somebody, we try and, think about it in our minds, or we try and talk to them about it, or we try and go around to get wisdom from friends. All those things are exhausting, take time, take energy, and they set up more issues. They recharge that whole environment all over again and make one more trip around the mountain. What trip is that? One more day. But here it's saying, get into the imagination, get into the feels, get into the knows, and not a you versus me or a us versus them. It's being able to come into the whole and to ask yourself, remember, whole zodiac, to ask yourself, hey, how would I benefit from this situation? Okay, and then your guidance will begin from there. It might be how to move away from it, how to move on from it, how to move past it, or in some zany situations, how to move towards it. What if that's the bigger block? I'm not saying all of them. Just something to ponder. As you see, I'm asking myself right here. But that's a 9. That's an ending of those old ways of being locked out or left out or unknown. Making it hard when it can really just be that easy, that swift. I'm telling you, in the blink of an eye, that turtle will completely leave your sight. How do I know? I live at the ocean. But anyways, this has a lot to do with plasma. We've been living in an earthen era for the last 400 years, thus the industrialization, the vigoring, unvigoring, the Lorax, right? That book by Dr. Seuss, and the building and the making and the changing and the going and the buying and the doing and the having. This has nothing to do with any of that, but our mind has not seen anything else unless you've been alive for longer than 400 years, right? So now they're talking about the plasma, or the era of air, as some of you might hear it as, or Aquarius, but I know Aquarius to be the state of plasma. It's where the waters meet, the sky and the land, okay? Because there is moisture in the air. There's moisture in order for us to be able to speak, to create, to pronounce, to procreate. And remember, they were talking here, instead of using those words, which are so lengthy and we so fiddly, when we go into our mind, we know ourselves. We know our own innate language. We know our imagery. We know our own dictionary, what words mean to us, what those impressions mean to us. And it's swift and easy to explore. Okay. I want to get one more card about this treasure island. Is there anything else you would like to share with us about this, about our birthright to thrive, shine, and succeed? How do we root down to rise up? Now that we know and are aware of how easy it can be, which ease is fantastic. Ease is not the opposite of hard. Ease is the opposite of disease. Okay, and from someone who just went through cancer, just say no, okay? Go into the ease, my friend, because it's when you're in the center of who you are. It's when you're in the center of your mind, your own eyes, the imagination, the intuition, the instinct, those sort of things. They're all spoken in your own innate language, and it's easy to travel in because you're not having to explain yourself to anybody. So in comes new life and magic stream. Okay. I love that. And these are the living waters flowing forth through your throat, from your throat. This is like that, where'd that card go? Kind of that hang time closet going on here, where it's retreating into your own world, the world of beauty, the world of delight. And that's what they're wanting to bring in, because this heron here is speaking to us about grace. Okay, and awakening that grace, hatching out that grace. This is like a seed emerging from inside the shell into the new life, into this whole new world. You're already on a pillar. You're already connected to the cosmic realm. The tree of life is hatching out. Waters are flowing from the rock. It's the land of possibilities, my friend. I love that. Just a little teaser there. They're saying is why they would love to have you come on in. And who are they? They are you and you and you and you and you and me as well. Wanting us to bring forward this beautiful place. Look at this imagination. Look at this realm. Horses with wings. You know, helicopters were once a dream. Cars were once a dream. Washing machines were once a dream. Look at how that technology comes along and makes our life more efficient. Now, the thing about imagination is anything that's a waste product that after you imagine it and you feel it and you walk through it, and it maybe starts showing up a little bit in your life in little pulses and waves, you can adjust and you can adapt, not to it overtaking you. You can adjust and adapt your order just like you would at a restaurant, okay? So let's go into the other part. I am the author of my own story. You have the pen. You have the pen. You have the permission and the authority, the total authority and the full permission. What? Because you are your parent. You are where you come from. You came through your parents into this place. You came through that trauma. You came through that experience. Where? To the now. You have always been with you. Home is wherever you are. Okay? So let's get a little bit from Cosmic Tarot, which never lies. Look at that. I love the alignment on the back of that card. It's fantastic. Ooh, Prince of Cups. He's like, look all steamy, like, it can be known. Look at me. Look at me. Looking so intently. I like that. Okay, so these, again, have already been pre-shuffled. So give us a little bit of message about our pen, about our story that we're wanting to awaken and bring in. Some of the energy that's available right now to really craft and hone. Oh, and that has a lot to do with like a gardener. I wouldn't start planting, say, what would I want to grow right now? I wouldn't plant peas here right now where I am in my zone 9 because they're just not going to make it to fruit, right? So there's a season for everything, and that's what we're going to find out here. And there's one more, 6 of Cups. Dream into your blue. And some of this is the return of you, the reservation, that bit of holding back on what? Okay, those are wanting to stay right there. Holding back on what? Okay, so full permission, holding that back, you're holding back the full pleasure. Look at these cups overflowing. And she's sitting there holding herself, wearing the cloak of the night, the knowable cloak, the Odin stone, the blank stone, just like those blank cards at the beginning. You have a blank slate. You have the pen. Now craft and write your story. If it's something you dream and you truly desire, it's going to be inside of you. It's not just in your mind, plaguing your mind. It's going to be in your heart. It's going to be in your belly. It's going to be in your body. And the steps that are necessary to be taken, you'll be willing to take. Not to sacrifice for, not to throw away other things for, just to step into, okay? The weeping willows. Let's clear out. I want a little bit to clear out some of the sorrow here. So we're going to go to the New Era Tarot to either find out more about this sorrow or how do we clear it out. At the bottom, Father of Fire. That's interesting because over here we had the Princess of Wands. I have a feeling some of you have been through severity. Which one is that? Is that maybe Gevura, the left hand of severity? Yes, 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 yes. The hand of severity, the left hand. I know the left side of the body to be our potential. So much potential, but how do you bring it forward? How do you make it real? Maybe it's been like what I've experienced, that each time I start to shine bright, something comes in to snap it down, like this, right? Or maybe some of the issues I went through with my sons, or health, or whatever else it is, you know, financial, you know, opportunities, maybe time getting away from you. Maybe you can't seem to get ahead of whatever it is that seems to have a hold on you. So the action potential is going to seem odd, but I can share it with you. You know, you've talked about, oh, fold your hands when you pray. Well, the ancients have done it for a long time, because when you put the action and the potential together, it's like putting a plug in the socket. We have energy lines in our body and they begin to power up. It's like the ignition firing off in your car, because if it doesn't fire off, you could have gas, you can have oil, you could have insurance, you can have the car, but you will be going nowhere. So you might just sometimes, when things are feeling stressed, or when you go into your imaginal acts, you might choose to just hold your hands together for a moment or two, just to be able to awaken it, to let what is at rest, that the potential, and what is emotion come together, and let them join forces, and let your action begin to bring your potential to life, and let them speak and meld and move to one another. Not through the domination, remember, and not through the heavy hand, those little foxes that spoil the vine, but learn how to handle yourself accordingly, how to speak to yourself accordingly. Okay. Yeah, because you can see here, it's just totally ripping up the land and causing a bigger disturbance than what is necessary. Maybe even the tone of voice in which you speak to yourself, or feeling like you have to be real forceful with the way you talk, or say the right things, or put it in the right language, or edit it properly, or all those sort of things. If that starts tightening up the back of your head, your throat, or your chest, that's too much. Just be able to relax and breathe. For some of you, it may begin with journaling, because if you write it down, that kind of deals with some of the tone, some of the restriction or constriction on the throat right there. So in this Ten of Cups, we have the... Let's just go ahead and get it all out. We got the Mother of Fire. Turn this mother out, okay? All right, so saying leave that realm behind, leave that intensity behind. Use intent, use intention. I got you. I thank you, Spirit. So, because all of that is everything out here, the eyes watching you. You know, maybe it causes fear, maybe it causes intimidation. There's other shock waves that really vibrate through your space when you're trying to be in the intimacy of your imagination, to be in that quiet, still place. Remember, she has that as the harbinger of hope and peace as well, okay? And the magic coming on in here. So let's just leave all that behind, because look what all you would have to travel through. Look at all that work. Look at all that handiwork. We're trying to bypass all that efforting, okay? All that intensity and getting into intention. All right. And that's quick and swift. Remember, that's what sea turtle's here to tell us. And the treasure is already opened unto you. The beauty is there. So getting across to a place where you can land and enjoy that. So let's see what is under. Well, that's going to be Four Dusk and Princess of Swords. If you have noticed, there are quite a few birds and wings all throughout this, but look at these two coming in where it was talking about blocking your own victory, standing in your own way, but you wouldn't have known it. You wouldn't have known it. You wouldn't have known that you were having a heavy hand. I didn't know until I went through cancer. There were these little trinkets and wisdoms that I picked up during that time of not sleeping and the severity and everything that I went through. But after a while, everything settled down, and those were the little things I began to know. Is just ask myself, okay? Because you can see there is help. There is a message being brought in. You just simply need to ask. Just like carrier pigeons or, you know, falconry, when people would use them, they would send them out to obtain it and bring it on back. Very much like the 7 that you see. Yes, right. Optical illusion, everybody. It's like a boomerang. You send it out to quarry and to bring on back. So it will bring that message and that information into you, and it'll bring it in both perspectives. It'll bring it in directly and perpendicularly, okay? Because they hold different information. It's kind of like our peripheral vision along with our frontal vision, okay? And it will give you perspective that has dimensionality. And the periphery has a lot to do with our feelings. It has a lot of bringing in that essence of like gut feelings and kind of our senses, should I say, sensations that come along with it. Kind of like the Richter scale picks up on earthquakes, but it can also pick up on good things too. It can feel the environment for you, but it's also going to bring in clarity of truth and information that is very direct. So kind of like the logic mind and the creator mind. Okay. Now you can think about if you've ever seen Picasso. The reason why the images look strange is he takes one face and he shows it from two perspectives. And that's why it can often be misunderstood. But in this case, knowing that both are coming in and one is more internal and one is more direct or alternating in direct current, AC, DC. Yes to that. So let's get on to our cheeriness over here about the author. Well, all right, they still tipping and dipping. 8 of Swords. There's still a bit of this wearing yourself thin. Worry. Wearing yourself thin with worry. Now, worry impacts the spleen, and that's some of what I've been dealing with. Once they removed the port from my heart, it triggered a lot of pain and nerves up here, and whatever happened, instantly, poof, swollen up with 20 pounds of water. That has a lot to do with the spleen, and we are in the season of the spleen right now, this Indian summer, the last bit of warmth, the last hurrah, right? Those type of things. So you might be wanting to try and cram too much in at once, trying to cramp it in. So unless you're a bear and you literally go into full-on hibernation and sleep for a few months at a time, or torpor like the hummingbird and you literally go close to death, that we don't need to live through those extremes anymore, because that steps out of ease into that dis-ease. It's being able to know that there's a measure of a day. Part of what I've been working with lately is knowing that if it's daylight, get some work done and have some fun, of course. But when it's night, just say no. Because at night, I might be able to see a little more dirt that's not visible in the day. And I'm like, oh, let me clean that up. And before the night is over, I might have done a whole extra hour of work. And I keep just egging more out of myself of things that are neither here nor there. Okay, that's speaking to someone specifically right there. And I hope that really helps. So now let's get into the cheeriness. All right, 7 of Pentacles. Want to know, when will we receive the reward? All right, well, this is 7. I'm seeing the days of the week in a week's time. Of course, 7 in a week's time. In a week's time, you'll be so vastly different than what you were before. And the neat thing about that, it's not just in your minds, your thought, your concepts, your ways to apply it. It's in the experience that you're beginning to have. It begins to shift. It begins to soften. It begins to ease up. It diminishes the stress, the fractures, the cracks, maybe even some of the conflict and strife or difficulties with others, because you find, hey, it's not worth that. This is my time. This is my space. I can have pleasure. I can have peace. I can have prosperity, and I can have it now. Okay, so let's see why this top card is coming. Yeah, because they can call it monkey mind, but let's get into the Cappy mind. Capricorn sun right here. Okay, and it's just that static, that charge of feeling stirred up, feeling uncted, feeling pressed forward, feel to go, 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 go. But you can see it's beginning to wear itself thin. Look at his legs, just totally worn thin. They don't even match in proportion to the rest of the body. So it's beginning to drain and to drain yourself out. And that's coming along in the era of Gemini. And Gemini has to do with the lower part of the body and with the feet. It begins to impact and diminish your beauty. Now, beauty is not something superficial. Pretty is. Pretty is an external thing. But beauty is like the fragrance that's buried within the rose. It's like the pollen and the nectar that's in the flower that the bee or the hummingbird goes searching for. It's the sweet life. It's the milk and the honey. And that's why they're wanting... Look at the bee there. That's why they're wanting to remind you out here, take it easy. It's by a group called Surfaces. It's a really good song. But it's stop wearing yourself thin with worry. Because in this case, worry isn't just of the mind. Because again, we have a forward and a perpendicular going on. It's a feeling. It's something just kind of lingering around you. Maybe it's a bit of that, yes, the unknownness. And it's taking those moments that you would normally worry and cross apply them. Okay, because worry is just active prayer for everything you don't want. And when you're doing that, you're sharpening that pencil. You're sharpening that sword. You're bringing in those challenges, okay? So instead, turn it around and take that active mind and apply it differently. Apply it to imagining. Apply it to something that you love, maybe cooking or drawing or going for a walk if you love nature. Going for a drive. If you love some music, don't just sit inside. Sometimes getting out will help alleviate a lot of that static charge going on around you of just being in man-made imagery. And again, it's beautiful. There's nothing against it. It's pretty, should I say, but beauty is inside out, and we need both. That's where the deliciousness and the delight is. And it's not like this out in the other world of people's perspectives ruling and reigning over you. No, it has more like, hang on. It's more like this, the goldenest self, that sort of light, the luminous self. Okay, so let's see if there's anything else from the affirmators. If you're into tarot, you're wanting to learn some, this is a great deck to work with because they're always upbeat messages. Even if there's something difficult coming forward, it doesn't, it comes forward in a lighthearted manner. It makes it palatable. You know, it's like a spoonful of sugar helps a medicine go down. Two of Swords, King of Swords, Queen of Cups. There's a little bit of doubt and reservation, and that's okay. I'm not asking you to live life my way. I'm not pushing this upon you. I'm just suggesting maybe take a jab at it. See, 7 days, you know? See if you don't feel better. That when that worry or that feeling or that sensation or that pressing in or that static or that, you know, hot-headedness or whatever comes over you, take it and turn it. Take it and turn it. And say, no. That might have happened before, but this time brighter vistas are in front of me. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with that situation, but I know I'm going to go out for a drive and listen to my music right now because I'd really like to feel good. Just take that turn, take that turn, take that turn, and watch what happens. Because see right here, we have the Queen of Cups coming up, holding up that cup of love. Okay, it is possible to exist in both realms, heaven on earth, and that help coming in. Okay, some of you want to know about a masculine because I've seen him show up a few times. Yes, a good father. And the father has to do with the spine. The father has to do with the hard facts of life. How do we soften that? How do we move forward? That's rude. That's 4 of Cups. Some sneaking right up on you. Okay. You wonder about watching your back. Sometimes just stretch out on the floor or on the couch, okay? And take your time to daydream. All right, here we've got the 2 of spades. Incoming. Incoming. Looking up here when look down here. The desert is no more. This is just smoke and mirrors. These tricks coming in. Look down here. There is water. There is water. Put this out. Use the water. Put this out. Reach down. Use the water. Put this out. And that reaching down is to reach with your mind. They're talking about your imagination. When it seems like you really want to get your hands in it, get your mouth in it, tell people, you know, teach them, help them. Hey, me too. I sit on the other side and listen to these. They're saying, just do what's right there available to you. Handle that. You know, if you don't know and you want to know, ask yourself. Maybe in the world, if you don't know and you want to know, ask. Don't decide, oh, they're going to think this of me or that of me. No, that's all that static, all that charge. They're talking about being able to move on through, moving through that eye of the needle. Well, I hope this has helped whoever called this in. I know I'm going to sit on the other side and listen too. Hopefully there'll be more of these and shorter messages as well. But this was the first one, a little rusty, kind of thick, because it's like the, pardon me, if you're a woman and you've had children, the mucus plug, that thing is being dislodged so we can give birth to this whole new world. Whose world? Your world, my world, our world. World full of joy, happiness, your happiness, my happiness. I wish for it. I want you to know that I love you. You are loved. You are desired here on this planet. Your joy and happiness is important to us all. When you benefit, we all benefit. Thank you for showing up and stop back by. Maybe check out some other messages. Click a subscribe. Hit that thumbs up. It is all free here at YouTube. Hey, thank you for helping us rise to the top. I love you. Talk soon. Bye.